Well, here we are, it's time for the next monthly Q&A, and as always, if you want to be featured in the next one, either just keep your eyes posted on the community tab, because I always post up over there saying like, hey, I'm about to do a Q&A, like, about half a week to a week before I do it, and then also joining the Discord server. I'll let you guys know over there immediately, literally, as soon as anything is happening. First things first, we'll kick things off with the Discord question, the first one coming from Big Daddy Matty 44, who asks, what's your morning routine? So, my morning routine is pretty basic. I wake up at 4:15 a.m. every single day, and then I wake up, put on some clothes, and the first thing I do before literally anything is I go outside for about, give or take maybe 5 minutes, even if it's cold out, even if it's kind of hot out, because, yeah, I live in Florida, so sometimes, it'll be like, it'll actually be, like, pretty humid even at, like, 4 in the morning. But regardless, I just kind of step outside and just clear my mind. Before I check, like, comments for videos, or, like, social media or anything like that, or Discord, like, literally anything, just, anything on my phone. Before I check anything like that, I go outside, I just clear my mind for, like, 5 minutes or so, and just kind of get myself ready for the day. Then I come inside. Then that's kind of when I'll start to at least, like, check some of the stuff. I'll be like, all right, how's last night's video doing? Reply to any comments that are rolling in, check my emails and stuff like that. And then, yeah. The next question comes from Ryan Revengeance, who asks, when you collect games, do you just get the original version, or do you try to get the one with the most content possible, like a complete edition, or maybe do you even get both? So I answered this in the one video, the recent game pickups video. And to give the long or the short of it or whatever, it basically just kind of depends on the game. For the most part, I'm always going to try to get the original print run of the game, like as vanilla as possible. Like whatever you would have saw on the shelf on day one, that's the copy that I want to get. Well, unless it's like a game where it's like a day zero edition or a launch edition, I try to avoid that. Like I try to just get like the most clean vanilla copy as possible without any additional text or anything like that. However, if there is a complete edition of the game where it adds like substantial content that is like considered like very canonical, like if it's additional DLC, that's kind of a different story. But if it's something like, for example, Batman Arkham City Game of the Year edition, where it has that Catwoman content on disc. Well, in that case, I actually ended up double dipping because of my Arkham collection. I have Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City Game of the Year edition, and then Arkham Origins. So I have 4 games for that trilogy. It's just because I have a plain vanilla copy of Arkham City, but then I also have the Game of the Year edition because, again, it adds that content that is literally part of the main story. So, of course, I wanted to get that. But then there's plenty of other cases I'm looking at my collection right now where it's like, yeah, there's plenty of games like Borderlands 2, for example, where I could have went out and got the Game of the Year edition, so then all the content came on disc. I just wanted to have that original orange copy. I mean, if you've seen the Borderlands 2 case, you know how beautiful it is, because it's like, yeah, sure, I could have got, like the complete Game of the Year edition for the PS3 or whatever, but at the same time, I like how that original copy looks, and I also already have, like, the Handsome Collection on Xbox One, for example, which comes with Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel with all the DLC. So TLDR just depends on the game, and in some instances, I might just, double dip. Now we're going over to the YouTube comments, the first one coming from my sister, who says, this is your sister. If you only had $1 left, what would be your last thing you would buy at Dollar General? See, Dollar General, do they even have anything that's, like, $1? Like, I know Dollar Tree, well, no, not even Dollar Tree does, because now their things are even going above $1, which is, kind of ridiculous, kind of like, it just like slaps the name in the face. It used to be the Dollar Tree. Sure, you had tax, so it would go up to like 106, but like everything was $1, and now it's like, it's going above that. It's like, I get it, inflation and everything, but like still, if I only had $1 left, I would buy water, because the human body can survive for, a while without food. But when it comes to water, that's like, out of all the necessities that your body needs, water is like actually the most important. So if I only had $1 left and I wasn't sure when I was getting money again, I would just get water. Because furthermore, once that water bottle runs out, then I can find water, like water fountains, just out in public, and keep refilling that water bottle. Are you supposed to refill plastic water bottles? No, at least that's what it says on the bottle, but I don't care. I'd do it anyway if I had to. I used to do it all the time in school back in the day, and I've always drank a lot of water, so I'd have to refill it like 2, 3, 4 times a day, and I never had any issues. The next question, now, I don't know what the official usernames are. Every time that I look at the comment section, it just gives me the @ handles, since YouTube does that now. There's like 2 different things. There's usernames, and then there's @ handles. That's kind of bizarre, but anyway. The next one coming from @WhatTheFlipMan says, what is your favorite game, and what is the best story game you've played? So if I had to pick like my favorite game of all time, Resident Evil 4. Furthermore, the remake that came out last year, that is actually tied with the original game, just as being my favorite game of all time. Now it's like, however you want to intertwine that. I mean, above all else, that original 2005 game, I played that game for the first time when I was 7 years old, and it was just like one of those moments when I was playing a game, and I was just like, obviously I had fallen in love with games before. I've told the story many times how the first vivid memory from my life is literally playing DKC on the SNES when I was 3 years old, but still, man, like playing Resident Evil 4 for the first time, that was just like one of those moments where I was like, Holy crap, and I remember just playing that game time and time again. I went through 100% of the game, got all the secret weapons, and then furthermore, I went on to buy it on like my iPod Touch when it came to the App Store, 100% of the game there, along with the Mercenaries mode over there. Oh, also 100% in the Mercenaries mode in separate ways and assignment data and all that on my PS2. And then when it comes to the best story game I've ever played, that would be really hard. You see, I've played literally thousands of games in my life, so picking the best story, because there's so many different things I could qualify as like what makes the best story or like what makes it the best in my subjective opinion. So I was gonna break it down further and say, okay, maybe just like what game has had the most impact on me, but even then I couldn't pick that. How about this? Instead of saying the best story game I've ever played, because I really couldn't pick that, there's just so many amazing options. I would say the one that has, I guess, stuck with me and like one that I still think about on a daily basis, despite the fact that, you know, I played it for the first time like over a decade ago dang, dude, The Last of Us is going to be 11 years old this year. But I remember when I played it for the first time on the PS3 when it had first released, and even then playing it then and then playing it again with the remastered version on PS4. No matter how many times I played that game or part 2, because like when it comes to Last of Us, I really feel like, you know, at least for me, it's just like, you know, I can't have one without the other. I love both of those games. It's just like, you know, it's that story. Seeing Ellie and Joel's relationship evolve from the first game to the second game. And I don't want to spoil anything just in case you haven't played the second game before, just in case you haven't played any of them, because, you know, I know there's a lot of people who's like, hey, you know, it's like a 10-year-old game at this point, but still, some people just haven't gotten around to it yet, so I'm not going to spoil anything in this video, but just seeing how the characters grow throughout the two games and their relationship, it's one of those things that's always stuck with me. So if I had to pick a game that has had quite the impact on me, that I still think about like on a daily basis and has even influenced the way that I tackle some things or approach certain situations in my life, I'd probably have to say The Last of Us, as well as The Last of Us Part 2, because that game also taught me a lot of really important life lessons. The next question comes from @DarudeGaming7237, who says, how's the journey of quitting smoking? Do you still feel urges, or are you completely fine? See, I still do have, like, technically, I still do have, like, the cravings or whatever, where it's like, you know, my mind sometimes is like, hey, you know, a cigarette would be really nice right now. But honestly, I don't know. Even when I was first quitting, I was just already at that point of like, dude, I've been doing this for like 10 years at this point. I'm sick of these things. Like, I don't even want to do them anymore. So, like I'd said in that little like mini documentary I made, where I kind of like documented that entire first week of quitting smoking. It was just at that point of like, yes, my body was like hating me for trying to quit, and yes, my mind was like fighting back, but my willpower or like my I guess my motivation or my discipline when it came to quitting and everything like that, it was just so much higher than like any urge or withdrawal could ever, whatever, you know. Like, I'm the type of guy, like, I don't care how bad something is, I'm gonna fight through it, because I'm always focused on the long-term gain. I'm willing to suffer through short-term pain for long-term gain. So while yes, the withdrawal aspect of quitting smoking sucked, it was always the physical stuff that sucked and never the mental stuff, just because I am above myself, you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to my mental state, there's my immediate thoughts, and then there's my subconscious that is always thinking in the bigger scope of things, and that is always able to overpower, for the most part, the short-term craving or desire side of things. You know what I mean? The next question comes from my mom, who asked, if you got a check for $1 million, what is the first thing you would buy and why? So there was actually a couple things I would buy with $1 million, so I can tell you the first thing, but then I can tell you the rest of the things I'd buy. So the first thing I would do, I would look for somewhere secluded, but not too far out from things. So I would want to have it be somewhere kind of like out in like, you know, like a country environment, I guess, but like somewhere to where, you know, if you had to walk to a grocery store, it wasn't more than, you know, it was a reasonable amount of time, right? Like, it wasn't going to take you a couple hours. Like, if your car broke down on the way home, you know, it wouldn't be more than like a 20 to 30 minute walk, but at the same time, I would still want it to be kind of like a ways out. So I don't know, just, you know what I mean? But from there, I would buy a massive lot of land. Like, I'm talking an absolutely absurdly large lot of land. And then what I would do is I would build houses for myself, my siblings, as well as my parents. For me, I don't need nothing too big or crazy. You know, I don't plan on having a family one day. I'm not very good with people. I know I wouldn't do good if I tried to have children, and furthermore, relationships, just that the thought of it actually kind of, like, it physically makes me sick even thinking about relationships, so I just wouldn't do that. So I wouldn't need much. It's like a small one-story, nice kind of house. I'd give all of my siblings at least like a 2-story house, or at the very least, even if it wasn't 2-story, just like, you know, a nice large house with some sort of elevation to it, where there, you know, there's room to work work with there. Since we live in Florida, I mean, if we would choose to stay in Florida, I'd give them a pool there. Obviously, I'd let them decide where the lot of land goes, since I'd, the houses, it would be more of a thing for them, so I'd want them to pick where they actually want to live. But then also, like, give my parents, like, a really nice house because, they're my parents. From there, I would make sure that all of my siblings' schools are paid off, so if they want to go to college, I'd make sure that we have funds set up for that, and even if, even if right now they're like, no, I don't want to go to college, I'd still put some money aside just in case. I'd basically just want to set aside funds just to make sure that there was funds aside for them to be able to multiply those funds later on. So, say, like, because, like, my mom, for example, she always talked about, like, starting up a bakery or, like, writing a book or something like that, so, I'd help her, you figure out the cost for, like, publishing books, or giving her the money to, like, start up her own bakery, so then that money can be made back or multiplied in some way later on. And same thing with my siblings, give them the money for college, which will give them a route to find a good job, and then if they need more money to get that job going, then have some money aside for that. And then after all of that, if there was any money left after that, which let's be honest, $1 million, that's not going to be enough to actually buy, like, all those houses and stuff like that. But, like, if I had more money to work with, then yeah. But, like, the plans I'm talking about would be in, like, the tens of millions of dollars, let's be honest. But, like, hey man, if this was like 20, 30 years ago, this might be a bit more of a reasonable idea. And if there was any money left after that, then I'd probably, I don't know, I'd probably just set it aside, maybe, I don't know, maybe, like, save some for when I die, then the rest of that can be dispersed to the family, or maybe I'd do something for myself, get a couple arcade machines. I've always thought it'd be pretty cool to have a room in my house where it's just, like, arcade machines, like, get, like, an original Mortal Kombat arcade machine. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even have to be an original arcade machine. I'd even be cool with, like, an arcade one-up machine. Get, like, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Pac-Man. I'd also want to get some of the light gun games, like the Jurassic Park one and the Terminator one. I'd also want to get, like, Metal Slug 3 in there. Love that game. Some racing games in there as well. Throw in, like, Cruising. I'd just go for some variety. Just a little bit of everything in my arcade room. The next question comes from Double T Game Hustle, who asks, how has gaming changed your life, and has gaming changed for you as you have gotten older? So how has gaming changed my life? Listen, this video could, right now I'm assuming it's going to be about 10 to 15 minutes long. This video with this question alone could be stretched out to like an hour plus, okay? Gaming has done a lot of things for my life. It has gotten me through a lot of things. It has let me experience a lot of things. It has opened up so many outlets for me, so many, like this career that I'm doing with, like, YouTube and stuff like that. Like, gaming is a part of that, sure. Like, on the YouTube side of things, obviously I'm just making videos, but a lot of my videos revolve around either talking about gaming or playing video games. So that, in one way, that's how it's changed my life. But furthermore, again, it's gotten me through so much. Like, no matter what I've gone through in my life, whether it was my parents divorcing back in 2010, or just like my bouts with mental illness and stuff, it's always been there for me through all the breakups, through all the addictions, through, like, every terrible thing that I've been through in my life. Video games have always been a constant, whether it's, like, something simple like cut the rope on my phone, or whether it's something bigger, like, I don't know, like Lego Batman on my PS2, or Black Ops 2, or Resident Evil 4, or Donkey Kong Country, or just, like, anything. It's just like games that I've been playing for years. They'll always be there. New games are always coming out, and there's always new games to discover. And yeah, I don't know, video games is one of those things where it's like, it's always been that best friend that I could actually rely on. Because, like, in real life, man, I don't talk to anybody. You see every single day I upload videos, and where am I? I'm in my room, and that's because when I make videos, I let you guys see what I'm doing on a daily basis, and what I'm doing on a daily basis is sitting in this room. I don't talk to anybody. I don't got no friends. I don't got no family. That's my choice. I don't like people. People disgust me. So through all that, video games have always been, like, my one true friend I could always rely on. They're always there to give me company. They're always my escape, no matter what's happening. If I'm in a good mood, they elevate my mood. If I'm in a bad mood, it'll just pull me out of that bad mood. Whether I'm stressed or depressed, they'll always pull me out of that mood, make me feel better. And yeah, I don't know, video games have done so much for me that I can't even be described in words. And then the other part of it, what has gaming changed for you as you have gotten older? I wouldn't say it's changed for me. Every time I turn on a game, I still just feel that same childish excitement that I felt back in the day. Like, every time when I turn on my PS2 as a kid and hear that "dang" or whatever you're supposed to make that sound, you know what I mean? Where it shows, like, the logo and it does the zoom in and all that on the PlayStation 2 startup before going, like, boom, when it's just, like, PlayStation 2 before the game starts. Like, the same magical giddy feeling I used to get as a kid, I still get when I boot up that. Or even, like, newer consoles like Xbox, when you turn it on and it does the whole thing where it's like, then it shows, like, the whole Xbox logo, or PlayStation turning that on to that, like, ethereal, mystical, just magical escapism theme that all the PlayStation consoles have, or flipping on my Wii U. And if I'm going to use the word ethereal, actually, I should probably use that to describe the Wii U as well. The PlayStation, I would say, is more calming. The Wii U, though, you turn that thing on, that is ethereal. And beyond all that, just playing the games themselves, yeah, I don't know, I just feel like, as a kid, I always loved video games, but I just feel like my love and passion has only grown over the years. I mean, it's like, thinking back to how passionate I was about it as a kid, it's like, even thinking then, it's like, how could, because my passion, it was just like video games were like everything to me back then, and it's just like, how could that grow? But somehow it has grown, and my love for video games just continues to grow and grow. I absolutely love everything about them, whether it's playing them, or developing them, or, learning about how games are developed, or learning how they work, or trying new games, or learning about new games, or learning the history behind games, or learning the history behind certain development studios or creators. There's always something new to watch or learn or experience in this medium, even beyond outside of just playing the games themselves. And I don't know, I love video games. And then the final question coming from Cheese 20044, who says, do you like Garfield seriously? I do not just like Garfield, I actually love Garfield, okay? Y'all remember that animated Garfield movie from back in the day? I forget what year they came out. I remember when it first came out. That movie was awesome, and furthermore, just like, like the classic cartoons and stuff, whether it be just like, the trade-up cartoons or the holiday specials or anything like that, I've just always loved Garfield. Like, I have some serious nostalgia for those cartoons. It's not even funny. Y'all know those things that you can be nostalgic for where you just, like, turn it on and immediately you want to start crying just because of, like, the overflow of emotions and nostalgia? That's how those classic Garfield cartoons are for me, and furthermore, like, I'm not that nostalgic over the animated movie because that one is a bit newer, but still, I have some hefty nostalgia for that one. I used to watch that movie, if you guys remember when those handheld DVD players were first coming out, when it was like, the thing where like, it almost looks like a laptop, but it's a DVD player where you like, pop up the thing, put in the DVD, slap it down, and, the screen flips up, when those were first coming out. I remember when I used to go to my grandmother's house, I used to watch Garfield on that all the time. There was also some other movies I used to watch on that all the time, like Space Buddies. Also, I apologize. I just realized that I was saying animated Garfield movie. That's not what I meant. I meant the real-life Garfield movie. At least I think I was saying animated, but yeah, it's the one where it's like, it's a real-life movie, but like there's like a CGI Garfield in it. But anyway, that is all the questions that I got. So, as always, like I said, if you want to be featured in the next one, either keep your eyes posted on the community tab or just join the Discord server. But anyway, as always, massive shout out, thank you to all the Patreon and channel members, thank you to all in the low baller tier, and big shout out, thank you to all in the mid baller tier, last can be daddy, and the big shout out, thanks to all in the G tier, run events, some of those cheese girl, thank you guys so much, you guys are literal legends, I love you. Thank you guys for watching, have an amazing day, stay beautiful, I love you all, peace.